Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anime Dreams. Today, we're diving into an exciting fanfiction topic: what if Naruko was Suna's pride? Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This channel is dedicated to entertainment and discussion. I do not own any of the anime footage featured in my videos. All rights and credits belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now, without further ado, let's get started. They had done it. Naruko, Shikamaru, Kiba, Neji, and Choji had successfully completed the Sasuke retrieval mission. They were now making their way back to Konoha atop a massive summoned toad, nearly as large as Gamabunta. Its vibrant orange skin matched Naruko's jacket, with intricate blue flame-like markings decorating its body. The toad was clad in striking red samurai armor, designed to fit its amphibian form, and had a space on its back designated for a large weapon, which at the moment served as a resting spot for the weary group. Naruko felt a wave of relief and accomplishment. The mission had been a success. She had prevented one of her closest friends from abandoning the village in pursuit of power. Not only had she upheld the promise she made to Sakura, but, most importantly, everyone had returned safely without any severe consequences. As the village gates came into sight, Naruko created 4 shadow clones to assist her injured teammates, Sasuke, Kiba, Neji, and Choji, helping them dismount from the toad. "Do you need me to stay for a while, Naruko-chan?" the large toad asked, his deep voice filled with concern. "Nah, there's no need, Gamashu Ujitsu. Everything should be fine now, right?" Naruko responded with her usual cheerful grin. The toad remained unconvinced. "If anything takes a turn for the worse, don't hesitate to summon me. Do you understand?" "You worry too much, you oversized wallet," Naruko teased, playfully patting the toad's sturdy leg. "I have every right to worry, Naruko-chan. I swore an oath to your father to protect you if you ever signed the toad contract. After all, I was your father Minato's very first summon," Gamashu Ujitsu said proudly. "All right then, I'll see you later." Naruko waved. "Take care." With a massive puff of smoke, the giant toad disappeared, returning to the summoning realm. As the team approached the gates, a squad of medical ninja led by Kakashi rushed toward them. "Did you retrieve him?" Kakashi asked as they reached the group. "Mission accomplished." One of Naruko's clones replied enthusiastically, carefully handing Sasuke over to a medical ninja. Kakashi sighed in relief. "Good work. Naruko, Shikamaru, come with me. The medical team will take care of the others at the hospital." The moment they stepped into the village, a crowd of civilians gathered, eager to witness the mission's outcome. Naruko had expected cheers, maybe even some words of appreciation. However, what she heard instead made her heart sink. "How could you do this to the Uchiha?" an angry voice shouted. "Yeah, look at what you did," another villager echoed. Soon, murmurs turned into shouting. Frustration and discontent filled the air. Some people even threw small objects in protest. Shikamaru couldn't believe what he was witnessing. Naruko had risked her life to bring Sasuke back, and yet, rather than gratitude, she was met with hostility. Naruko was momentarily stunned but not entirely surprised. "I thought bringing him back would finally earn me some respect. But instead, it's only made things worse. If this is what happens every time I do something good for this village, then maybe it's not worth staying." But before that thought could settle, she mentally shook it off. "No. I have to stay. I have to protect my precious people. I made a promise, to them and to myself, and I never break my word." Her thoughts were interrupted when she noticed Sakura stepping out from the crowd, walking straight toward her. "Sakura-chan, I did it. I brought sauce." Smack! Naruko barely had time to react before Sakura's hand struck her cheek. "Sakura! Why did you?" Smack! The second slap left Naruko speechless. "How could you hurt Sasuke-kun, you careless fool? It would have been better if you had just stayed out of the way." Sakura exclaimed in frustration as she lightly struck Naruko again. Naruko felt as though her heart had just been shattered. Are you really going to just sit there and accept that? Kyubi growled from within its sealed chamber. Ever since Naruko had discovered its presence, the ancient fox had reluctantly assisted in her training. Not that Kyubi particularly enjoyed it, but when one was confined within the body of a 12-year-old, there were few other options for passing the time. Shikamaru was taken aback by Sakura's outburst. Lee, who had been brought back by the sand team and had been waiting by the gate for his squad, was beginning to realize his perspective on Sakura had been completely mistaken. While she might have been physically appealing, her actions revealed a lack of true kindness and sincerity. To him, she no longer represented the ideals of youthful spirit, but rather the opposite. Even though most of his face was concealed, it was evident that Kakashi was equally surprised by her behavior. Summon Gamma Cho Jitsu and ask him to help us leave this village, Kyubi suggested. Or perhaps Gamma Bunta, he would certainly be strong enough to clear a path for us. No, Kyubi. I may be upset, but I can't do that. This is where all my friends live, and I won't harm innocent people. Besides, Gamma Cho Jitsu isn't strong enough to take on the entire village, and Gamma Bunta would see no reason to get involved, he'd simply return to the summoning realm. Naruko thought. That's true, Kyubi admitted. Then why don't you leave? These villagers don't appreciate someone as strong and kind as you. You have friends in other places who would gladly welcome you. Maybe. Naruko pondered. Of course I'm right. Just summon Gamma Cho Jitsu and leave, okay? Naruko bit her thumb, performed the necessary hand signs, and pressed her palm against the ground. Summoning jutsu? She called out. A large puff of smoke filled the air, revealing Gamma Cho Jitsu, clad in his signature red samurai armor, his massive battle axe resting against his back. Do you require assistance, Naruko-kun? Gamma Cho Jitsu asked, his deep voice resonating through the area. No, Gamma Cho Jitsu. We're leaving, Naruko replied, her voice laced with sadness. If that is your wish, the Toad warrior responded, placing his axe back on his back. A villager scoffed. Good. Leave and never come back. Before another word could be spoken, a kunai the size of a door embedded itself in the ground near the man's feet, causing him to stumble backward in fear. Watch your words, Gamma Cho Jitsu warned. Disrespect my master again, and I won't be so forgiving next time. With that, he turned, leapt over the village gates, and carried Naruko away. Where to, Naruko-kun? To Suna, she answered, determination in her voice. Gamma Cho Jitsu continued through the forest for hours, eventually using a technique to shrink himself to the size of a large vehicle, making it easier to travel unnoticed. As they moved, he glanced up at Naruko. Her eyes were swollen from crying, and dried tear stains marked her cheeks. Poor Naruko-kun, he thought. Rejected by her own village for something beyond her control. If she hadn't asked me to hold back, I would have taught them a lesson in respect. Meanwhile, in Konoha, Tsunade stood before the council, her foot tapping against the ground with increasing intensity. The force was enough to cause small cracks in the floor. Why was Naruko forced out of the village? She demanded, her voice filled with frustration. A particularly bold, or perhaps foolish, council member scoffed. Why are you upset? The villagers did us all a favor by getting rid of that. Before he could finish, a paperweight flew across the room and struck him squarely between the eyes, knocking him out cold. Tsunade's gaze swept across the room. Let me be very clear, if anyone dares speak about her like that again, you'll regret it. Another council member hesitated before speaking. The Uzumaki child is now considered a rogue ninja, so she must be added to the bingo book and... No. Tsunade interrupted, slamming her fist on the table, reducing it to splinters. She is not a rogue ninja. She didn't leave of her own free will, she was driven out by her own people. The room was silent as her words sank in. I'm sending a team to bring Naruko back. And if any of you try to interfere, Tsunade cracked her knuckles for emphasis. Let's just say you won't be making any travel plans for a long time. Dash. Back with Naruko and Gamma Chojitsu. Naruko-kun, it's getting late, and I'm running low on chakra. We should stop and rest, Gamma Chojitsu suggested as he slowed his pace. Yeah. I'm exhausted too, Naruko admitted, her voice hoarse from crying. You need to stay strong, Kyubi's voice echoed in her mind. Forget about them. And if you're upset about that pink-haired girl, stop wasting your energy, I do have a reputation to maintain, you know. I just don't understand. How could they do this to me? I protected that village with everything I had, and this is how they repay me. Naruko thought bitterly. Don't dwell on the past, Kyubi advised. They failed to see your worth, that's their loss. But now you're heading to Suna. If all goes well, they will be your new family, one that truly appreciates you. I really hope so. Good night, Kyubi. Good night, kid. Naruko hopped off Gamma Chojitsu's back. Thank you, Gamma Chojitsu. I don't know what I'd do without you, she said, rubbing the back of her head. Think nothing of it, Naruko-kun. It is an honor to serve the last member of the Namikaze clan, he replied, lighting a small pipe with a fire jutsu and taking a slow drag. Just be careful when I'm not around, all right? I will. See you later, Naruko said, waving. Take care, Gamma Chojitsu responded before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Naruko scanned her surroundings. The air was drier than she was used to, and a small creek trickled nearby. I must be getting close to Wine Country, she muttered. After searching for a suitable spot, she found a semi-hollow tree and curled up inside, trying to get comfortable. Hopefully, I'll reach Suna soon, she whispered before slowly drifting off to sleep. Naruko awoke the next morning feeling refreshed. She stretched before carefully climbing down from the tree. Hey! Give us back our sister! A voice suddenly shouted. Looking down, Naruko saw a man running with a girl securely held under his arm. The girl appeared to be around Naruko's age, with ice blue hair that reached her neck and striking eyes that matched her hair. Due to the ropes wrapped around her, Naruko couldn't clearly see her clothing, but she noticed a Suna headband tied around her forehead. Don't worry, Emi. We'll save you. Another voice called out. Naruko turned toward the sound and spotted two boys in pursuit. One appeared to be a couple of years older than her, while the other looked about 10. The older boy had fiery red hair styled in a flat top cut and deep red eyes. He wore a white long-sleeved shirt underneath a black short-sleeved button-up, which was left open. Naruko noticed a symbol on the black shirt, a fireball with the kanji for dragon in the center. He also wore black cargo shorts, black fingerless gloves with metal plates on them, and had a Suna forehead protector tied around his neck. A large sword was secured on his back, and upon closer inspection, Naruko noticed that the hilt was wrapped in white cloth that extended downward. The younger boy had light brown, shaggy hair, and his eyes matched his hair color. He wore a short-sleeved, light brown shirt that bore the same symbol as the older boy's shirt. A metal shoulder guard covered his right arm, and his forehead protector was tied around his waist like a belt. Like the older boy, he also wore cargo shorts, though his were brown. I wonder if they're from a clan, Naruko thought. They might be. Kyubi responded. Ah, now I remember that symbol. That is the emblem of the Ryu clan. Ryu clan? Naruko asked curiously. Yes. The Ryu clan is a noble family from Suna, known as the guardians of the legendary dragon summoning contract. Dragon summoning contract? I didn't know that existed. Indeed, and it is one of the most formidable summoning contracts in existence. Only members of the Ryu clan are permitted to sign it. Wait. If they're all related, why do they look so different? Naruko wondered. I'll explain later. Right now, you should consider helping them. Since they're from Suna, assisting them in rescuing their sister might improve your chances of being welcomed there. Good point, Naruko thought as she swiftly jumped from the tree, landing on a sturdy branch before dashing after the Suna ninja and their target. I've had enough of this. It's time to use Soraiba, the red-haired boy declared as he unsheathed his sword. Kurisu. Are you sure? You might hit Imii. The brown-haired boy called out in concern. Relax, Mado, I know what I'm doing, Kurisu responded confidently. Kurisu began to spin his sword by its attached cord before skillfully launching it at the man holding his sister. The blade struck the man's left shoulder, causing him to release Imii. Are you okay, Anir? Mado shouted as he ran toward his sister. Ow, that really stung. Imii whined, rubbing her arm. Here, let me help you out, Mado said as he took out a kunai and carefully cut the ropes binding his sister. Thanks, Madi Odo, Imii replied with a warm smile, playfully ruffling her brother's hair. He sighed, clearly not a fan of the nickname. Kurisu firmly tugged on the sword knot of Soraiba, pulling it back toward him. The sudden motion caused the opponent to wince in pain as he clutched his injury. I normally wouldn't use my chakra on someone like you, but since you attempted to take my sister, I won't let this slide, Kurisu stated firmly. His expression was resolute as he began forming hand signs. Taking a deep breath, he focused his energy and internally commanded, Kaden, Karu Enden. A powerful stream of fire erupted from his position, surrounding the man in a blazing whirlwind. As the flames slowly died down, Kurisu stepped forward, expecting to see the opponent subdued. However, instead of finding him there, he realized something was off. No way. He used a Kawarimi no Jutsu. Kurisu exclaimed, scanning his surroundings. Before he could react, the man emerged from his blind spot, kunai in hand, ready to strike. Ani! Imii and Mado shouted in unison. Kurisu quickly turned around at the sound of their voices. Take this, Carrot Top! A man bellowed as he lunged forward, kunai in hand, aiming straight for Kurisu. Not enough time. Kurisu thought, instinctively raising his arms to shield himself. He braced for impact, closing his eyes. But the expected blow never came. Instead, he heard a commanding voice. Yutsu Emeki. Kurisu's eyes snapped open. Before him stood four identical figures clad in bright orange. His attacker was now airborne, propelled high above the ground. Another figure, also in orange, had leapt beside him, aligning mid-air before delivering a decisive axe kick. Naruko Rendon. With a forceful strike, the assailant was sent crashing back to the ground, losing consciousness upon impact. Kurisu flinched slightly as the four figures before him vanished in a puff of smoke. A shadow clone technique? That's not something you see every day, he mused while pushing himself to his feet. Hey, you, thanks for the help, Kurisu said, approaching the orange-clad figure. No problem. Just doing what I can, the ninja responded cheerfully. The name's Uzumaki Naruko, if you couldn't tell. I am Kurisu Ryu, future head of the Ryu clan and wielder of Soraiba, Kurisu said, offering a respectful bow. Soraiba? Naruko thought. The sword, Gaki, Kurisu clarified. Oh, Naruko said with a nod. Kurisu. Are you all right? Mado shouted as he and Imii ran over. I'm fine, thanks to Uzumaki-san here, Kurisu said, sliding Soraiba back into its sheath. Mado bowed slightly. Thank you, Uzumaki-sama, for assisting in rescuing our sister. I am Mado Ryu, the top graduate of my class. Imii stepped forward, inspecting Naruko closely before suddenly exclaiming, You look just like my Nanki-chan. Kurisu and Mado both sighed, nearly falling over in exasperation. Huh? Naruko blinked in confusion. Her pet fox, Kurisu explained, brushing off the comment. Anyway. Hi. I'm Imii Ryu, and I am the most absent-minded girl in all of Sunagakure, Mado interjected with a smirk. Hey. That's not true. Imii shot back, And the two immediately devolved into a playful argument, trading amusing insults and exaggerated claims. Kurisu, shaking his head at their antics, turned back to Naruko. I see you're from Konoha, judging by your headband. What brings you this deep into the wind country? Naruko hesitated before answering. Well, I was exiled from Konoha after completing a mission. Kurisu raised an eyebrow. Exiled? For completing a mission? Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Uchiha clan? Kurisu nodded. I was on the same team as the last Uchiha when I became a Shunan. Over time, we became friends. But during the Chunin exams, something happened to him. I don't remember exactly, since I was unconscious at the time, but he received some kind of curse seal from one of the legendary Sannin. Orochimaru. At the mention of that name, Kurisu visibly tensed. Naruko noticed immediately. Hey, are you alright? Why yeah. I'm fine. Please, continue. Anyway, that seal had some sort of hold over him, and he attempted to leave the village. Tsunade Ba-chan sent me and a few friends on a mission to bring him back. We succeeded, but when we returned, the villagers were furious that I had fought him. As a result, I was banished. I decided to head towards Suna since I have friends there. Kurisu folded his arms thoughtfully. That's quite the story, Uzumaki-san. Did you say that the Hokage is your grandmother? Not really. That's just what I call her. She might look young, but she's actually in her 50s. I see. What about your friends? What happened to them? Naruko's expression softened. I'm not sure. But I hope they're okay. Back in Konoha. What? They did what to Naruko? Neji shouted, his Byakugan flaring as he attempted to rise from his hospital bed, only to be firmly pushed back down by Shikamaru. Relax, Neji. Once you're fully healed, you, Lee, Ino, Choji, Sasuke, Kiba, and I are going to search for her. Neji frowned. Wait. Did you just say the Uchiha is coming with us? Shikamaru sighed. Yeah. Hokage-sama believes this would be a good chance for him to redeem himself. Honestly, it's such a hassle. I don't trust him, Neji muttered. You and me both, Shikamaru admitted. But orders are orders. Neji shifted uncomfortably. How are the others? They're recovering. Choji is regaining his chakra, and Kiba's wounds are healing well. I see. Where do you think Naruko went? Shikamaru leaned back, deep in thought. No idea, unfortunately. So where do we start looking? Don't worry about it yet. Hokage-sama will give us more details when the mission begins. Shikamaru packed away his shogi board. For now, just rest up. With that, he left the room, leaving Neji to contemplate the upcoming journey. Meanwhile, with Naruko, Kurisu, Mado, and Imii. So, let me get this straight, you're heading to Suna to join its ranks as a ninja, correct? Mado asked as Naruko and the three members of the Ryu clan made their way through the forest. The air became noticeably drier as they advanced. Yes, Naruko confirmed. Who's your connection there? Kurisu inquired. Sabaku no Gaara. All three members of the Ryu clan widened their eyes in surprise. Wait, you're friends with Kazekage-sama? Imii asked. Naruko froze in her tracks. Kazekage? Did you just say that Gaara is Kazekage now? She asked, nearly shouting. Yes, he was officially appointed just yesterday. His coronation is set to take place in 1 week. Rumor has it that one of the reasons he was chosen was because he defeated the last remaining member of the Kaguya clan in battle, Imii explained. I see. I'm happy for you, Gaara. The village needs a strong leader like you, Naruko thought to herself. Soon, Naruko and the Ryu clan members reached the border where the lush greenery of the forest met the vast, golden desert. Before them stretched an endless sea of sand. I don't see it anywhere. How far is the village from here? Naruko asked, squinting as she scanned the horizon. About a day and a half's journey, Kurisu replied casually. What? That long out in the desert, walking, and without supplies? Naruko exclaimed in disbelief. Kurisu simply chuckled. What's so funny? Naruko asked, slightly irritated. Tell me, Uzumaki-san, who said we were walking? Kurisu replied with a smirk. With that, he bit his thumb, quickly formed a series of hand seals, and then slammed his palm against the ground. Kushios no Jutsu. A massive burst of smoke erupted, making the ground tremble. Kurisu, you woke me up. I was sleeping. A booming voice echoed through the air. Apologies, Irukyo-jin-san. Kurisu called out. As the smoke dissipated, Naruko took in the sight of Kurisu's summoned companion, a colossal red dragon. Its vast wings could overshadow entire buildings, 2 large horns protruded from the top of its head, and a third one sat on its snout. Between its eyes was a kanji symbol for fire. Its sharp claws were the size of train cars, and its enormous tail, lined with a spiked ball at the end, stretched as long as 3 semi-trailers. He's as massive as Gamma Cho Jitsu, Naruko thought in awe. How powerful is this creature, Kurama? She asked internally. I sense chakra levels comparable to that of a cage, Kurama responded. Impressive. The enormous beast lowered its head to their level. How's it going? Irukyo-jin asked lazily. Yay! Irukyo-jin-chan. Emi squealed excitedly as she ran forward and clung to one of his horns. Hey, Emi-chan, still the little ice princess? The dragon asked. As always. She responded cheerfully. Irukyo-jin then turned his head toward Kurisu and Naruko, examining the blonde newcomer. And who's this tiny one? He asked, his voice carrying a teasing tone. A slight twitch appeared on Naruko's forehead, but considering the sheer size of the dragon, she decided to hold back any retort. This is Naruko Uzumaki. She's traveling with us to Suna to become a ninja, Kurisu explained. Ah, I see. So, I assume you summoned me to give you all a ride? The dragon asked. That's right, Kurisu confirmed. I was hoping for a battle, the dragon sighed, exhaling a gust of warm air that nearly knocked Naruko off her feet. Oh well, can't always get what you want. Alright, hop on. As Naruko climbed onto the massive dragon's back, she turned to Mado. How did he get such a powerful summon? She asked curiously. Well, in the Ryu clan, whenever a new member is born, a dragon is also born alongside them. That dragon becomes their lifelong partner, Mado explained. The stronger the person, the stronger their dragon. As you can see, Kurisu is incredibly strong. Irukyo-jin was already this massive when Kurisu was only 7. That's incredible. So, what about you? Who's your dragon? Naruko asked. Ishi Sato, an earth dragon, Mado replied. Hold on tight, everyone. Irukyo-jin called out as he suddenly took off into the sky with immense force. Naruko struggled to keep her balance, as did Mado, while Kurisu and Emi seemed completely unaffected. Hey! I thought you said you had a dragon, so why are you struggling too? Naruko shouted over the sound of powerful wing beats. Ishi Sato is an earth dragon. He doesn't have wings, and honestly, I prefer it that way. I hate flying. Mado shouted back, gripping onto the dragon tightly. Hey, I have another question. Naruko called out. What? Mado replied, sounding slightly queasy. Why do you all have different hair and eye colors? She asked. The different hair and eye colors in our clan reflect our chakra affinity, Mado explained. For example, since I have brown hair and eyes, my affinity is earth. If someone has red hair and eyes like Kurisu, their affinity is fire. If they have white hair and eyes, their affinity is wind, like our father, the current clan leader. Yellow hair and eyes indicate a lightning affinity, dark blue represents water like our mother, and light blue signifies an ice affinity, like Imii. Wait, I didn't know there was a pure ice affinity. Naruko said, surprised. It seems that this ability primarily appears within our clan, though even among us, it remains quite rare. In fact, Imii is the first Ryu clan member in over a century to possess an ice affinity. Moreover, a shinobi's affinity often determines the elemental nature of their dragon companion, Kurisu explained. Wow, that's amazing. So, how long will it take to reach Suna from here? Naruko asked eagerly. Approximately 3 hours. Kurisu called back over the sound of flapping wings. That's incredible. It's so much faster than walking. Naruko cheered. 3 hours later, the group arrived at the walls of Sunagakure. As the 3 Suna shinobi and their hopeful companion dismounted the enormous dragon, a voice rang out. Kurisu, Irukyojin said with mild irritation. Yes. Next time you summon me, please make sure I have something to do other than acting as transportation. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to get home quickly, Kurisu replied with a sheepish grin before letting out a yawn. I really miss my bed. Yes, wonderful. You interrupted my sleep just so you could reach your own bed faster. Anyway, take care, Irukyojin said before disappearing back into the summoning realm. Now that I'm back on solid ground, I'm going to grab a quick snack and meet my team for training. See you later. Mato announced as he dashed off. A snack? He's only 10. Naruko exclaimed. Actually, he's 11, Kurisu corrected. Like that makes a big difference. Naruko shot back. Our clan has a saying, if one is old enough to stand on the battlefield, they are old enough to celebrate with their comrades. Of course, I don't partake myself, Imii added with a casual shrug. Wait, did he just say his team? I thought you were all on the same squad, Naruko asked, puzzled. No, Mato was only with us for one mission, the one where we rescued Imii from a kidnapper, Kurisu explained. Then who is your other teammate? Naruko inquired. Kurisu hesitated for a moment before Imii answered softly, He was lost during a mission. Oh. I'm really sorry, Naruko said, suddenly feeling very focused on the ground beneath her feet. There's no need to apologize, Imii replied, regaining her composure. Anyway, let's head to Kazekage-sama's office to get you officially registered. After that, you can stay at our place. I'm sure my father will want to show his appreciation for your help. And trust me, once you've had some of my mother's cooking, you'll never want to eat anywhere else. As they walked toward Gaara's office, Naruko took in the sight of Sunagakure for the first time. The buildings had a distinct architecture, with domed roofs designed to withstand the fierce desert winds. It's funny, Kurisu remarked. We have plenty of staff to prepare meals for us, but my mother insists on doing the cooking herself. And if anyone tries to help her, she'll tap them with a wooden spoon as a warning. Trust me, it stings. I had a red mark on my hand for a week once. Curious, Naruko asked, does the Ryu clan have a main and branch family system? Absolutely not. Kurisu responded so passionately that Naruko flinched. We would never divide our family like that. Every member of our clan is treated equally, no matter the circumstances of their birth. Even if a child is born under unfortunate circumstances, they are still considered part of the main family. My father would rather pull out his own hair than even consider something as cruel as enslaving his own kin. Yeah. Daddy's the kindest person ever, and he always makes us laugh. Imii added with a bright smile. Later, at Gaara's office. I haven't even been officially crowned yet, and those senior advisors are already piling paperwork on me, Gaara muttered, signing yet another complaint about a certain tall, white-haired elder who had been caught spying at the bathhouse. A knock at the door interrupted his thoughts. If you're here to drop off more paperwork, I'm already swamped. Please come back later, Gaara said with mild exasperation. It's me, Kurisu Ryu. Kazekage-sama, I need to discuss an important matter, Kurisu's voice came from the other side. Enter, Gaara responded. The door opened, revealing the red-haired dragon summoner. After offering a respectful bow, Kurisu stepped inside and took a seat. So, what is this urgent matter? Gaara asked, leaning back in his chair. Our mission to rescue my sister was successful. We managed to capture the perpetrator before he left Wind Country, and there were no casualties, Kurisu reported. Gaara nodded in acknowledgement, signaling for him to continue. During our mission, we encountered a shinobi from Konoha, Uzumaki Naruko, who claims to be an acquaintance of yours. Gaara's teal eyes narrowed slightly. Yes, I do know Naruko Uzumaki. But what I want to know is, why was she in Wind Country? Apparently, she was banished despite successfully completing a mission. Gaara's eyes widened slightly at this revelation. What? Why? Gaara asked, visibly surprised. I'm not entirely sure of all the details, Kazekage-sama. You may want to speak with her yourself. Gaara nodded. Send her in. Hi. Kurisu bowed respectfully before leaving the office. He stepped outside, where Naruko was seated beside Imii. Kazekage-sama wishes to speak with you, Kurisu informed her. All right, Naruko replied as she rose from her chair and entered the office. It's been a while, Gaara, she greeted, taking a seat. You have some explaining to do, Gaara said in a firm yet concerned tone. With a deep sigh, Naruko recounted everything, detailing the events of her mission, her encounter with the Ryu clan trio, and her decision to seek refuge in Suna. Gaara listened intently before responding, I'm truly sorry for what you've been through. However, I believe the council will accept you without much hesitation. After all, you did defeat me when I was at full strength. That alone will leave an impression. He picked up a sheet of paper and began writing. Kankuro, he called, and within seconds, a swirl of sand formed in the center of the room, revealing the shinobi. You needed me? Kankuro asked, kneeling respectfully. Take this order to the armory. We'll need a new headband for Naruko-san, Gaara instructed with a small, rare smile. You got it, Kankuro responded, accepting the paper before vanishing in another swirl of sand. Gaara then turned back to Naruko. Do you have a place to stay for now? Kurisu offered me a place for the night, she answered. Good. Tomorrow, we will arrange permanent accommodations for you, provide your headband, and assign you to a new team, Gaara said as he stood. Placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder, he added, Welcome to your new home, Naruko Uzumaki. You once helped me, and now it's my turn to support you. Naruko stood up, her body trembling slightly. She looked Gaara in the eyes and, in almost a whisper, said, Thank you. Gaara. Before she could say anything more, she suddenly collapsed. Naruko! Gaara exclaimed, quickly kneeling beside her. The office doors burst open as Kurisu rushed in, sword drawn. Is everything all right, Kazekage-sama? Kurisu asked urgently. Before Gaara could answer, a loud growling sound echoed through the room. What was that? Kurisu questioned, looking around in confusion. So hungry, Naruko mumbled weakly. Gaara let out a small sigh, sweat dropping slightly. He turned to Kurisu. You said she would be staying with you tonight, correct? Hi, Kazekage-sama, Kurisu confirmed. Good. Take her with you and bring her back tomorrow, Gaara instructed. Hi, Kurisu acknowledged, carefully lifting Naruko before leaving the office. Gaara leaned back in his chair, propping his feet up on the desk. Secretary, bring me some tea, he called. A short while later, she arrived with a fresh cup of hot green tea. Gaara took a sip, gazing out the window. Things are about to get very interesting with Naruko around, he mused. I wonder how Shujiki will reward her for helping rescue his daughter and assisting Kurisu. Knowing that old strategist, He'll either offer Emi's hand in friendship or train Naruko so intensely she'll be recovering for weeks. I'm not sure which would be more challenging. With that thought, Gaara turned his attention back to the endless paperwork awaiting him. Meanwhile, at the Ryu clan compound, a sudden sneeze echoed through the halls. Someone must be talking about me, Shujiki muttered to himself. Dear YouTube family. That's a wrap for now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more amazing content. Thank you for your support. Best regards. Anime Dreams.